I'm Ryan Baker. We're back here in Club 53 with Dave Downey. And Club 53 really is his house because that 53 represents the all-time single-game scoring record for Illinois basketball, which he did in 1963 at Indiana. When you look at the renovated State Farm and you think about how it was the night you and your teammates christened this place when it was Assembly Hall, March 2nd, 1963, I believe.
March 4, but who's counting?
It's March 4, okay, March 4, 63, and you know, all these points and everything gets all mixed up. But when you look at how it looks now, do you say, wow, it's come a long way since we first opened the place?
Well, it is really very special now, I think, in terms of the color, the way the floor looks, the way the whole place looks, much different. They didn't have any seats on the floor, and it was like stark. And the guy wires ran up to the railings like shooting at a banjo or something. Wow. Hit the rim and it would bounce off. We didn't play particularly well, and we didn't want to move because we were trying to win a Big Ten championship.
You liked it over at Huff.
Huff was a great home court. We had the animal section where we had Butkus and Obradovich and those people sitting. We would tell guys, we shove guys in there, they don't even come back.
If you had those, that wasn't the Orange Crush, that was the Crunch, because you get in there, you get eaten up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but you know, it was a great atmosphere we see with volleyball now, but it's almost like one of those old high school gyms where the fans are on top of you.
Well, you think about they get excited with 4,000 people for volleyball. We had about 7 for basketball.
So that was a hot ticket in town.
Oh, it was. You could only go to every third game as a student. There were no aisles in the downstairs, and people sat with their feet on the floor.
There'd be a sweat box in there too.
Oh
right?
yeah, and when you stepped, you had to have them move their feet so you could take the ball out of bounds.
But what was it like playing in that atmosphere though?
It was great. It was because you got electricity and you got to rolling, and we had a fast breaking team. Harry Combs was one of the great offensive coaches in history. And we would turn and fire the ball to the half line. Oftentimes, never have the ball hit the floor before we made a basket.
Bunch of gunners, you guys were.
Well, we were indeed. It's a fun game.
But you know what? I looked at the box scores from your senior year when you won the Big Ten. You went over 100 points as a team twice, both against Indiana. And I'm looking at that. That's over 50 years ago. People say the game has evolved to maybe more focus and emphasis on scoring. But as you said, you guys weren't afraid to put it up. Did you play any defense?
Well, we did, but we encouraged the other team to hurry up and shoot so we'd get a chance.
So you figure if we have the ball and we can get it up, we have a better chance of beating you.
Well, when you think about our team at that time, and that's why I wanted to emphasize the team, we had at least in one game, all 5 of the starters had more than 24 points in one of the games.
Yeah,
so
that's impressive.
it wasn't that I was just a big scorer. I really wasn't.
And what about the shooting percentage?
And the shooting percentages were very good. We were mid-40s to the low 50s.
Sure.
No, we were a good shooting, a good offensive team, and it was a fun game to watch.
When you see the game today, the way it has evolved, how do you think you would fit in with the style of basketball being played today with young people?
I think it's hard to really compare eras. I was a scorer, a little like Malcolm Hill, who's maybe not a great shooter, but a scorer, and I could get myself open. I was a small forward, but I was
put it on the floor, get to the basket.
But I was a good jumper, and I had kind of a good instinct for the game. I was a better rebounder than I was scorer. People don't remember that. They remember points scored, but I actually averaged 11 rebounds for my career.
And almost 18.9 points per game?
Yeah, right.
So he didn't correct me on that, because scorers never forget how many they scored.
Right, that's right.
Do you remember the games you didn't play well or when you didn't score well? Does that still stick in your mind?
Oh, absolutely. I had like 60, maybe 56 or 7 games in a row where I had double figures. And it was against Wisconsin that I went bad. I had 7 points up there, we lost.
What season was that?
That was my senior year.
You had 7 points?
Yeah, and we lost, and I went to Indiana on Saturday and made 53, so the average was even.
You made up for it, huh? So you knew you had to go out and score 53 to kind of keep your average up, right?
It turned out to work that way, but I hadn't planned it.
Absolutely. You know, in all of college athletics with athletes now, it's kind of a different world in terms of they're on television, a lot of money being generated. Through social media, athletes have a voice to, you know, which we've seen the effects of that, some positive, some negative, depending on your perspective. but it would seem to be, I don't want to say difficult, but it's a different day for college athletes, and they have more opportunities. But do you like the changes that have taken place that kind of give athletes a little more of a voice and a little more say in their future and their college experience?
Well, it cuts both ways. I think one of the things I don't like is that there's a bigger separation between the athletes and the students than there was when I was there. They're more kind of training tables. They have to eat the same. They eat together. They travel together. I think part of the college experience is learning to be socialized, and that doesn't happen as much as it did when I was there. And I think the emphasis on trying to find a curriculum that allows a kid to stay eligible rather than trying to find out what the kid wants to know.
Right.
We're not dummies. We can learn. And I think they too often assume that if you're a jock, you're also dumb, and it's just not true.
And you want to major in eligibility as opposed to, learning some things that could change the course of your life after basketball.
Absolutely. And most people, as you said, are not going to make a living playing the game. I used to do some programs with Arthur Ashe because I was involved in some youth things around the country. And he would talk to junior high kids, mainly black kids. He'd say to the boys, what are you going to do? I'm going to play in the NBA. I'm going to play in the NFL. I'm going to do this. And he could look them in the eye and say, your chances of being a brain surgeon are better than your chances of making it in the NBA. Somebody needed to tell people that.
Right.
And that's where you learn from that. We've all learned, and that's important to know that education is what makes a difference, not the athletics.
There's no question about that, but how did athletics and your time playing basketball here prepare you for some of the challenges you would face in your professional career in the insurance business?
Well, it doesn't matter what business. You learn, first of all, that you need a team. You can't do it all by yourself. You have to prepare. Vince Lombardi used to say, you've got 6 days for 60 minutes. Don't be unprepared. Those are the kind of things you learn. You also learn that being somebody might get you to the starting line, but that's all it does. It doesn't get you to the finish line.
Right.
And you learn about equality, and that for me was an important part of my life. It allowed me to realize that I was poor, but I was poor and white. The poor black kid had a tougher job than I did, and I learned from that. And we had a great experience all over. I was in this community, I never left. I've been able to be who I want to be here without having to be a big-time athlete.
You selflessly said you didn't want your name associated with this beautiful Club 53 that we're sitting in, which will forever be attached to you because of that great game over 50 years ago. But aside from everything you've done for the university monetarily and also through your undying support, what do you want your legacy to be at the University of Illinois? How do you want Dave Downey to be remembered?
I don't really care if Dave Downey is remembered. I would like to be able to say it was a little better because I came here and that I had a chance given to me. I stood on the shoulders of someone else. I'm just one more shoulder for somebody to stand on. That's the way life is. What you got to do is feed it forward. You don't help the people that helped you, you help the people that are not yet here. And that's what you can do at a university. And my wife had said to me, because I'm more interested in some ways in other aspects of education than just basketball. She said, but you're known for basketball. People will listen because of what you did in basketball, and that is the importance of athletics.
So we know you could score. You said you were a good rebounder, but you also can dish out assists. You keep doing that, right?
Thanks. That was the most fun part of the game.
It's setting people up, and you've done it on and off the court. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you.
Great to sit down and spend some time with Dave Downey, one of the all-time greats to wear the orange and blue.